Spokane Valley could become a sanctuary city of a different
Councilman
kind.
Caleb Collier says that this
I'm proposing that the city of Spokane Valley issue a proclamation stating that our city is a Second Amendment sanctuary city.
Welcome to the fire.
Today on Church and State, a mom on a mission with Natalie Poulson. Hello, Christian Patriots, and welcome to Church and State, where we drive morality and religion over tolerance and apathy. And I'm your host, Caleb Collier, once again, your favorite far-right shock jock, and the show that talks about politics and religion. Jesus Christ is our referee, so it's always nice and clean. Real quick, I'm going to point you to the website, churchandstate.media. Fill out this form for us. And of course, you'll get our newsletter. And perhaps more importantly, I'll personally call you. Yes, every single one of you. From Maine to Hawaii, Alaska to Florida. I'm going to call every single one of you. All right. Also, check out some of our featured guests. We've had some doozies over the years, some incredible people that have joined us. And of course, I want you to listen to all those. And all you have to do is click on the name. Find your favorite person, click on the name, goes right to the episode. Also, peruse through some of the amazing affiliates that we have, companies that I believe in, that I support, that I shop with personally. I want you to check all these out. And of course, I'll highlight one of these after the hard break. But with all of them, use the promo code Church and State. With many of them, you'll get a discount, but all of them, you'll help support us. And speaking of support, hit the donate button for us. We're already part of some incredible networks, NRBTV, Prepper Broadcasting Network, Newscasters, CDM, Your News, just some amazing people that have brought us on over the years. And we can expand and be nationally syndicated and be in direct competition with some of the people that I tend to not like. The Sean Hannitys of the world, stuff like that, Mark Levin's. Yeah, I could be in direct competition with them, ladies and gentlemen, but we need your help. Any little bit will help us. Those reoccurring donations are the most beneficial, but please hit the donate button for us. Lastly, if you want to get a hold of us, Church and State 1776 at proton.me. With that, let's go ahead and bring on our guest in studio with me, Natalie Poulson. She is a friend. We've been friends for a number of years, ever since she decided to stand up against some atrocities in the school districts. But she's been a warrior, just an incredible person, has worked behind the scenes in politics, has ran for political office, and today you're joining us because you are running once again.
I am. That was quite the intro. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's easy when I know you. I don't have to read it or anything. It's just like, yes, I know this woman. And, I should mention also, you're just an incredible woman of God as well, which I really do appreciate. And I think that has to be the focal point, especially when you get into something as nasty as politics.
I call it the lion's den, so I definitely have to have God going with me.
Absolutely. The Lion of Judah as you go into the lion's den. You're going for something that's, it's a hard fight. You're going for the third.
It's a tough one. I call it the little blue dot in a sea of red. Eastern Washington is pretty red, except for Spokane.
Yeah, you got that. That's the truth. Walla Walla, maybe a little bit of the college communities. Pullman's got a little bit of blue going there. But yes, the South Hill in particular for Spokane is a very blue area, which is kind of a shame because it's so beautiful up there.
It is beautiful. And as you go towards downtown, it definitely gets more and more blue. And of course, they took the chunk out right there, the Hilliard area, because, they had to make sure they gerrymandered the border just right.
Of course, that's what they always do.
Yeah.
Now, you're running on a number of principles, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I would assume that you want to see some economic benefits for, the Spokane area. We're in a unique position here because of the legislative practices that have occurred in Olympia. Being so close to Idaho, we're losing a lot of people, we're losing a lot of business here, and I'm sure you want to fight that.
Absolutely. I've been here my entire life, so Spokane is at the heart and soul of me, and it's become unaffordable. The entire state has become unaffordable, but obviously I'll be representing Spokane, and unsafe, and we're producing children out of public education that high graduation rate, but they can't read or do math or science. The statistics are still very poor. And that's not on teachers. I always want to make sure I make that distinction. It is about the system, the institution. We have some incredible teachers, and they do the very best that they can.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The public school system has just got worse and worse and worse. I on the show oftentimes talking about get your kids out if you can. But yes, we need to correct so many of the things within our state. And it starts really if we can get good people elected to push back against Olympia. Now, I understand, ladies and gentlemen, that we live in a very blue state. And, right now we have quite the minority of Republicans in the House and the Senate. So if we could get, especially an area that the Democrats just view as this is a shoo-in, if we could get somebody good in there, man, it could have dramatic effects for Washington.
So this particular seat has not been an open seat since 1996. That's how long it's been held. And then the last Republican elected was actually in 1980, and she served 1981 to 83. So my big thing is stop voting for your own struggle. Things are not getting better, so let's try some change. And I'm that change.
Yeah, so this is Tim Ormsby has given up his seat. Right?
Correct.
And so this is where you're trying to get into. And Tim Ormsby has always been a real interesting character to me. I love a guy who's supposedly working on the state budget and then goes to a bar and gets drunk and then rolls his Jeep while drunk and nothing happens. You think we might have some problems with our state budget when a guy is drinking and rolling his vehicle while working on it?
And he's representing the third, and nobody seemed to have a problem with that. It's definitely a concern.
Yeah, if you don't believe me, it's in the papers, guys. Look it up. It's right there. I'm not making stuff up. So you will have an opponent by the name of Luke Jackson III.
It's actually Jasmine.
No.
Luke Jasmine, L-U-C, Luke Jasmine. And there's two other Democrats in the race. So right now there's four of us, 3 Democrats, and myself as the only Republican.
Okay.
The front runner is definitely Luke Jasmine. So that is who will probably make it through to the general.
Okay. Now, Luke Jasmine III, not to be confused with his father, but there's some interesting things going on around that, the family circle, as it were.
There definitely is. So apparently father, Luke Jasmine, so don't confuse the two, but apparently he sits on the Washington State Human Rights Commission. He's also a pastor in Spokane. And there was a video release that was recorded back in March of him spewing and mocking hate for the Jewish community. So very anti-Semitism. And he put out a statement that said, "Oh, I didn't mean it." Well, I was just sent a second video recorded in April of the same type of thing. So it's obviously something he believes in, so it's very unfortunate. And then my opponent, Luke Jasmine, made a statement in the same article of them saying, no, we don't have any problem with the Jewish people, says that it's not fair to say that Hamas is a terrorist group.
Yeah, that's a rather interesting statement. Now, on this show, and this is just me, but I'll go after any country because I like freedom, and I don't want to be in endless wars constantly.
Agreed.
But, we shouldn't be attacking a specific people group, no matter how you are. Like, racism, and I don't want to sound like some leftist or anything, but really racism is an antiquated idea, and we beat that as our country as a whole a very long time ago. Is there pockets of it that emerge? Sure, there are. But the vast majority of us who love, this country, we've rejected this idea that certain races are higher levels or better people.
Absolutely.
It's really a ludicrous statement. To say that Hamas is not a terrorist organization really baffles my mind.
That's concerning.
Yeah, I worked for an organization that really taught on the dangers of Islam, and Hamas is absolutely a terrorist organization.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they claim it themselves.
Yeah.
So
that's your option, ladies and gentlemen, right there. If you live in the third, you can vote for somebody who is, in my mind, definitely not very educated. I'm trying to word that in the best possible way here. Probably needs to go back to school to learn some things about some terrorist organizations, or you could pick somebody like Natalie.
I'm definitely the choice, the change, and I would be for all people. Unfortunately, my opponent is only for certain groups, and I don't think that's right either. We have a beautiful community within Spokane of many different cultures, and they need to all be represented.
Yeah, and let's talk about some of this because downtown, and I used to work downtown, and I liked it. I liked being down there. We had a vibrant restaurant scene.
anymore.
I know. I'm getting to that. But we had a vibrant restaurant scene, and I'm a bit of a self-described foodie, so I liked going to these different restaurants, walking around down there. I don't go down there anymore. I don't want to go down there anymore. The streets are filled with people on fentanyl. You can see them. They're literally like bent in half, like just zombies. And this is what years of Democrat control have done?
Yes. Every time I go down there, I should start recording it. Maybe I will do that. There is open drug use. Every time I drive through downtown Spokane, I see open drug use.
And prostitution.
That is not okay.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, the Democrats claim that they are the people that want to help the homeless. But every single time we see an area that is Democrat controlled, you see more and more homelessness. And what comes with that? With increased homelessness, you're going to see that drug use that you were talking about, prostitution, because people are doing whatever they can to pay for their drug use. You're seeing more violent crimes, property crimes, and that is downtown Spokane right now.
Yeah, and I really want to start calling homelessness what it actually is, and it's an addiction and a mental health crisis. And yes, everything you said follows, but we have got to start looking at the addiction as the actual issue. It's not homelessness. It's addiction and mental health crisis. That's what it truly is.
You're absolutely right. And in fact, to use the old adage from the movie, if you build it, they will come, Field of Dreams. I know for a fact, I've talked to people that work behind the scenes on this issue. There are people from all over this country that come to Washington State because of the benefits that they receive. It's almost homelessness tourism, if you will. We need to correct that. We need to fix that. And you're right. It's a lot of people that don't want responsibility. I mean, if you look at the comparisons between like Catholic Charities and not HRC, Union Gospel Mission, there's accountability from the Union Gospel Mission, and a lot of the homeless people, even me as a former EMT, they didn't want to go to UGM because they didn't want that accountability. But we need to start there before we're just giving them free housing and free drugs and safe shoot-up zones.
Well, and here's the thing. They're real people. Everyone on the street is somebody's son, daughter, possibly father, mother. And I look at it as if it was my child, my daughter, I don't want you saying, hey, here's a clean needle, or hey, go ahead and get high and you can have a clean bed. No, I want you to tell her no. I want you to say, hey, let me care more about you until you can care about yourself. It's time for accountability, and I'm definitely that person that will bring it.
No, I absolutely love that. And I would encourage the audience, regardless of where you stand politically, to view it in that same way, because that's a beautiful way of looking at it. If your son or your daughter was homeless and on drugs and selling their bodies and engaging in property crime, you would want the best for your child.
Yes.
And that's really what we are, that whole adage of conservatives are just cold-hearted. No, we want to clean up the streets because we care about the people that are living on them.
Well, and you're a dad. And when you discipline, you're not disciplining typically to be mean. You're disciplining out of love. And it's time to show people clear boundaries and discipline and consequences for their actions. And right now we're not doing that. So we need to bring that back.
I love that. In fact, my daughter, the audience can't see her. She's here in the room. Can you say that again, that I don't discipline my kids because I'm mad at them? It's because it's great.
All out of love.
Yeah. Hopefully you were listening to that, dear. Let's talk about strong families and parental rights, because this is an issue in Washington State that parental rights have just gone out the window.
I mean, we're the first teacher of our children, right? Or however you want to say it, but we're entrusted. God entrusts us with those children, and parental rights are inalienable, and we need to get back there. And it will be on the ballot in November. So definitely that's a big thing. Get out the vote. And part of that is voting for parental rights, and for me, but definitely making sure that we vote. And it's important to vote in the primary, but in November, that parental rights is going to be on the ballot.
It's such an important issue. And once again, returning back to, I don't care where you stand politically, left, right, independent, middle, whatever it is, you should want the best for your kid. And you shouldn't want the state to have the ability to literally legally kidnap your kid and get them on puberty blockers. Right. And that's insanity.
Well, and I always think about it too, regardless of your beliefs and what you want for your child, don't you want to walk through those serious medical issues with your child? You don't want them doing that alone. So again, left, center, right, you want to be that voice of reason for that child and make sure they fully understand the impact.
I am right there with you on that one. And again, it seems like a common sense issue to me that you would want the responsibility, the parental rights, as you said, that are God-given,
Yes.
Not by the state. The state can't come in here and say, well, we talked to your 9-year-old and we decided that they believe that they're a different sex. And so we're going to go through the process without even informing the parent. No, you don't have that right, government.
And isn't that how Hitler started to control when everything happened way back when? He started in the schools, and he started with government control of the schools. So people should know their history.
Yeah, I mean, you're picking up something that literally every single evil despot throughout history, throughout recorded history, has always targeted the children because they know that, you give them a generation and they will control the thoughts, minds, hearts of the people because they targeted the youth when they were still in that age where their brain hadn't fully formed, right? They were still very impressionable, and that's exactly what's happening in our state.
It is absolutely what's happening, unfortunately. So
Well,
it's time for change.
I would agree. Let's talk about responsible, accountable government. Does that exist? I mean, is this like a unicorn? Is there such a thing as responsible and accountable government?
I think it has happened, and I think we can get back to it. Unfortunately, Washington State's majority is not allowing that right now, and so we got to flip that. There's quite a few seats we need to flip, and I have high hopes for this election, especially for the third. This is the first chance in over 30 years to take a seat that has been held by the other side, and they've done nothing good. So
all right,
let's get it.
One of the things I love about you is you can handle my sarcasm and my sense of humor here. I do want responsible government, ladies and gentlemen. I truly do. And I believe that we have, in portions of American history, we have had responsible and accountable government, but we've moved away from that. And we need to get back to this where the government does work for us. We need to be reminded of that constantly, that they're not kings, they're not queens out there. No, they work for us. And if they don't represent the people well, then it is our responsibility to replace them with people who will.
Yeah, and what's interesting, I don't know if you know this, Caleb, but I think you'll like it. My opponent has a nickname on his personal Facebook page, and that nickname is King Luke. So speaking of king, and especially the other side that wants no kings, another reason to vote for Natalie.
King Luke.
Yes.
I fundamentally dislike that. I just got to go ahead and say that right there. No, that's not. I don't want kings. This is something that is in our American DNA, right? It's how we started. We abandoned that when Benjamin Franklin was asked. It's so famous by this woman who at this time couldn't even vote. She didn't even have that right, but she asks him, what kind of government did you give us, a monarchy or a republic, right? And his response is a republic if you can keep it. And that means that it is a responsibility of Americans. A republic as a system of government is one that requires the people to be active, to be engaged, to be informed. And we've lost that.
We have. And a lot of people don't understand that in a republic, the majority should not be controlling. They should still be the people controlling the government. And so people need to take that control back, but they have to understand it.
They do. And here's the other thing too, and I know you know this, but I'm just gonna throw you a real softball. Okay. They've convinced us we're a democracy, Natalie.
Yeah. And that's where the majority can lead the minority. And people just do not understand that in a constitutional republic, that is not how it's intended. It was intended for the people to lead the government. So there's your history lesson.
Yeah, it seemed pretty simple, but
by the people, of the people, for the people.
Exactly. And one of the other things, lower taxes. This is a big issue right now. A lot of Washingtonians are very upset because they passed the millionaire's tax. And those of us that have been in the game for a little while, we know it's not going to stop there. We know that it's going to continue, that eventually it's going to be $750,000 or $500,000. It's going to keep getting lowered until all of us are paying a massive amount of taxes just to live here.
Well, Bob Ferguson pretty much admitted that because he put out a post when we were collecting so many signatures and said, oh, well, I won't let it during my reign go to all the people. So you know it's intended to go to all the people. But can I also clarify for everyone listening, it's not just millionaires. And you've really got to have more of a concept of that. It is going to hit farmers and small businesses hard. And small businesses are our local economy. And so we have to understand that if you own a local business and you take a salary from that business, which, you're going to probably take a salary from your business. Yeah. And then if your spouse also takes a salary or works somewhere, it's all that combined asset, including your assets that they are then going to tax. Yep. That's insane.
Yeah, exactly. And as the housing market increases, this comes into play here.
Sure does.
Right? Because that's an asset, ladies and gentlemen. How much is your home worth? Oh, look at that. All of a sudden, you're creeping real close to that millionaire.
Not how much you bought it for.
How much
it's worth. Even though you have not sold it or gained any of that technically.
Yeah. So real close here, ladies and gentlemen. All of you are going to look like millionaires on paper for the bureaucracy. Sure, you're going to get hit. You're going to get taxed there. Now, I know, and this is outside of your campaign, but you mentioned that you've been part of this. There's a massive amount of people that are signing this to get this on the ballot to get it repealed.
Well, I'm actually running 2 initiatives in the county, actually multiple counties. I took it on because I believe in it so much. So the initiative for proof of citizenship to vote, and then also to repeal the income tax. And so we will have signature gatherers out at many stores. And in addition, they will be at the Freedom Con at the Gorge this weekend, along with Founders Day in Medical Lake, along with Pioneers Day up in Elk. So just know if you haven't signed it, find one of those spots and go and sign both initiatives is actually what I would ask.
Sure. Let me play devil's advocate on this one a little bit. We had $30 car tabs, and the people really spoke quite loudly on this one, that we were pretty upset about the cost of our car tabs. And the government, in all of its wisdom, said, yeah, I know you voted this way, but we're not going to follow it. Could we see something similar to this millionaire's tax?
If the people vote for it, so again, here's that get out the vote, because typically in Spokane County, we have about a 40% turnout. That's not going to get us where we need to be. So you've got to vote, and you've got to pull 10 of your friends with you. You got to make it happen. So that's always my plug for get out the vote in this county. And as far as if we could get it to go through by the people, because it's an initiative of the people and it'll be on the ballot and the people vote for it. No, the language in it is extremely strong, which would allow it to uphold the Constitution. Because, did we mention that it's actually unconstitutional? So we'd like to uphold the Constitution. So there's that too.
I mean, it sounds like a nice idea, right? Upholding the Constitution. I think I've read that somewhere before. and let me even answer my own question that I asked you here. Even if the government pulls some shady business, they would never do something like that. They're very trustworthy. But it would be an eye-opener to the people, I think, at this point. And maybe we have to go through a little bit more pain to get where we can get some really good change to occur. I hope not. I'd like to see this ballot initiative go through, and we can repeal this thing and bring back businesses to Washington State, bring back people who are moving in droves to red states. Where we're at, people are moving to Idaho like it's crazy.
Yeah, even if they don't move, they're still going over there to purchase things, especially gas. But we've lost, Starbucks, a big portion of Boeing. There's so many large businesses. And then just in Spokane alone, so back to voting for me, we've lost so many businesses in downtown Spokane. It really does look like zombie land in certain parts. Oh, yeah. There's areas of downtown Spokane where it's literally just boarded up buildings and like you said, zombies that with that fentanyl that is literally decimating people, which is so tragic to see. Especially our youth. And it's just, it's devastating. So it's time for change. Yeah, I would agree. Now, you've also got a number of high-profile endorsements here. Can you talk a little bit about that? Well, I think I have proven myself over the last few years. I stand for integrity. I will stand for what is right, even when it's hard. And a lot of these people have watched me show up to their campaigns year after year, doorbell, really support just ethical things. And I've stood for against 5599. That's a whole nother conversation, but also just pushing the initiatives. So they know who I am. And I think it's important to reach out to those people and ask for endorsements. So.
Sure. And one of the things that I can say about you is you have a long history of service. You are a very service-oriented person, whether it was in the school districts, continued teaching through private institutions. Your work here on really the will of the people. I don't even want to say like politics, but you really just put yourself out there for the will of the people and ran campaigns and ballot initiatives to push back against government overreach.
Yes, I have. And prior to that, I was definitely involved in community. And so doing things like early Head Start advocate and Serve Spokane City Reach, therapeutic recreation services, Blessings and Beyond. I've just always been very involved in loving my community. And that has translated into more political things the last few years. But I almost like to say that I'm not political or I'm not in politics. I want biblical government. That's what I truly want. I just want biblical citizenship, and that's what I'm really fighting for.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. You know that I've taught classes on biblical citizenship before. What does that mean to you when you're looking at biblical citizenship, how the Bible applies good government? What does it really mean to you?
For me, it's ethical and moral government. So it's representing people in an ethical way. It's not always about your views. I mean, obviously, we're going to have some influence of our views on things, but it's really taking the time to hear other voices and then keeping that biblical view. And for those that don't know Christianity, my biblical view is ethics, integrity, kindness, and morality. We have to have some sort of morality and boundary. It can't just be, I'll go back to being a parent. I can't just allow my kid to do anything. They've got to learn boundaries in order to understand how to be a productive member of society.
I 100% agree. And once again, this applies to everyone, no matter where they stand politically. You've got to have a standard. You see I've seen them before, parents who just are hands off totally with their children. And what do those kids end up like? Well, a lot of them end up in government, I think.
Except for me.
Yeah, that's true. Except for you, for sure. Now, I know you're out there, you're hitting the streets. One of the benefits of running for political office is how much you end up walking. So I imagine you're doorbelling all over the place.
Yeah, I don't need to go to the gym. So we're actually starting this week. So spent a lot of time really building a team. Got some amazing young adults, which I think is important. We've got to start bringing the next generation in. We're only going to be here so long. So I've got a lot of years left, but I definitely want to bring the youth in. It's very, very important. So I have 2 adult children and then a 10-year-old. And I want to leave them something. Right now, they don't even feel like they could get a house. They can't even rent without roommates because it's just so unaffordable. Yeah. And that's not what I want for my children.
No, absolutely. Plus, you have the benefit of walking up all those hills on the South Hill.
I definitely, don't need to go to the gym. I'll get all my steps in.
Not only that, but you walk up a hill to get to a house, and then there's all these steps to get to the front door. So I used to deliver mail out there, so I know it well. But yeah, you're definitely getting your exercise. No need to go to the gym there. Well, we're about to hit a hard break here, but I want to make sure and hit the website. Chris, can you bring that up? friendsofnatalie.com for the audience. Please go here. You can see it. Chris has it in front of you. But sign up to help donate, to go doorbelling with Natalie. This is where the rubber meets the road, as it were. Now, we're going to come back after this hard break and finish this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, I want all of you to be a walking billboard. Some of us don't have platforms such as Church and State, but you know what? We can wear t-shirts and engage in great conversations with Christians and patriots all across the country. Stand Up Now apparel is the best t-shirts out there. These are American-made, owned by a Christian and a patriot, and the material, it's like getting a warm hug from yours truly. One of the better things as well is there's no tags. I hate tags. I know you do as well. I don't know how many times I've cut off a tag and ended up with a hole in my shirt. You never have to worry about that with Stand Up Now apparel. These are the best shirts out there with the greatest messages. Let me give you a few examples. There's a t-shirt out there that says Armed with Ephesians 6 on it. I gotta tell you, when I wear this in town, I get a lot of comments and a lot of eyebrow raises. There's other shirts that include Pure Blood in
Hebrew, obviously in reference to the vaccines. And also, you can get Church and State merch there as well. We've got our flagship shirt, I Was Born for a Storm, with Church and State right on it. You got to order this shirt. Go to Stand Up Now Apparel for t-shirts and hats. All of this great merch with great Christian and patriotic messages. Remember to use that promo code Church and State.
And we are back, and thank you for staying with us. You're over at churchandstate.media, and we're going to go right back to our guest in just a second here. But real quick, let me plug one of our awesome affiliates. And we got a couple new ones that I'm going to highlight here, Chris. Number one, Liberty Cigars. Now, I like cigars. I don't know if my guest does. I'll ask her about that in a second. But I do. I like a good cigar. I like a great cigar with a campfire, talking about sound theology. Oh, man. Just makes me happy inside. We got a great company here, ladies and gentlemen. Liberty Cigars. Every single one of these cigars is a history lesson. They're all named after our founding fathers, important, significant people in history, and they've chosen the blends specifically for these individuals. Now go check them out. We've got the Declaration series. Right now they're running a Father's Day special, and this is for a limited time. So use that promo code Church and State. You're going to get a discount there. But remember, that Father's Day special is only for a limited time. So go check them out. Use that promo code Church and State. The other one as well is the Patriot Pouch. Chris, do we have that one up yet? No. Okay. Well, we're getting it. We're going to work on it. But Patriot Pouch, it's a nicotine alternative for a lot of people that are interested in nicotine, the benefits of it, but it's not nicotine. It's nioxidine, and it hits the same receptors without any of the blood pressure spikes or heart issues. So go check them out, Patriot Pouch, and once again, use that promo code Church and State. All right, with that, let's hit the donate button again. Chris just reminded me. Hit the donate button. Keep us on the air. All right, with that, let's go back to our guest, Natalie. I won't even ask you about cigars. Don't worry. Women hate cigars. They do. I don't know. I don't know what it is about you.
It's not terrible. I can't stand cigarettes, but at least the cigar is not terrible.
It's definitely for men, typically. It's one of the things that we enjoy. Maybe we just like stinking. I don't know. Anyway, let's go back to this conversation. I do love the fact that you're running, that I can count on the fact that, Natalie, if there's a hole and people aren't going to run, and for a lot of the Republicans, they look at the third and they're like, why bother?
Yes, they do. And one of the things I did in the last election is, after you watch it go unopposed so many times, it's just not our Republic way. And I couldn't watch it again. And so I just told myself that if nobody stepped up, that I was going to do it. And I submitted my name on the very last day at like 3 o'clock.
There you go.
The last second. I will run a good race. I will put all my efforts into it. I do think if there's ever a chance to take this seat, it is now. I do need people to step up, though, and the biggest thing is social media. We've got those young adults, like I was talking about, that have really stepped up. So like, share, post, that can be a huge benefit no matter where you're at. Just being part of my network expands with your network. I reach more people.
Absolutely, it does. And and you're on the social medias, the TikTok, as the kids say, right? They're on the
I just got my tutorial on TikTok, so I'm trying. I'm trying.
I know, I'm on that too, and it's like, I don't know. Like, I hate social media as a whole, but you got to be on there. I absolutely understand that. Let me ask you this, as I'm going to put on a different hat. Chris, can you hand me that Biden rainbow president hat? I know, I'm kidding. I'm not going to actually wear it. But as a Democrat, why would I want to vote for you?
Well, I would assume that regardless of where you consider yourself on the political spectrum, that you have to see that Spokane and Washington, obviously, Washington State in general, has become unaffordable, along with unsafe. You cannot tell me that you can just go anywhere and think that you're safe. I walk around downtown Spokane and I will encounter somebody having an episode of some sort, or somebody doing open drug use. Mm-hmm. And if I have my 10-year-old with me, that is unacceptable. So that's why I think that you should vote for me, is that it's time for change. Stop voting for your own struggle. I'll give you a perfect example. Right. In the 90s, we pushed for natural gas, right? That was the big deal. Everybody needed to move to natural gas. Now they want to ban natural gas. So right there on every new build, it's at least $10,000. Guess what that just did to buying a house or renting? It just made the cost of buying a house more expensive. Or if you intend to rent, it's going to make it unaffordable. So if you are on that side of the Democrat and you're thinking, oh, the government's going to save me, where do you think the money comes from? It comes from taxpayers. So every initiative, everything that gives you think you're getting something, they're actually hiking the price up somewhere else, and you're paying the price. It's a vicious cycle that people need to be aware of.
It absolutely is. And, you know, I live out in a rural area, and even in the 3rd, there's some rural areas. You know, gas is essential to us out there. When the power goes down, whether it's a severe winter storm or in the summer, you get some of these firestorms that occur, big wildfires, the power will go out. And in the rural areas, it can go out for days.
Yes.
And without gas, how am I cooking? In the wintertime, you know, how am I, you know, well, I have a wood burning fireplace, but still that gas can help me heat my home, protect my kids. So this is a big issue that you're talking about here that we should push back against the government on.
Especially in Eastern Washington, because they're trying to take it further and go after propane as well. So you have, like you said, the rural areas that are a little outside of my district, but it doesn't matter. I still care about those people. And we have tough winters sometimes. We haven't for a couple years, but it happens. Yeah. And we can't leave people without heat or a way to cook.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And going back to kind of that question of why would Democrats vote for you, when I look at it, you know, and these big issues that you're talking about, safer streets, you know, where we're not taxed to death and people are fleeing the state in droves, you know, voting for Natalie, even with her strong convictions and her religious beliefs, you know, voting for somebody like Natalie, let's just say you're very, very pro-choice. Voting for Natalie's not as an individual going to be able to change the law in Washington state, right? You're opposed to abortion, but one person is not going to be able to change that issue.
And I always say I'm pro-human, so I care about life, absolutely. But right now I care about the lives dying on the streets of drug overdoses. Yeah. So I agree, you know, just because there's one thing we disagree, I'll take you to my favorite quote, 80% agreement is not a 20% traitor. Change the percentage. And that was Ronald Reagan, if you didn't know. But change the percentage. We don't have to agree 100% of the time for me to be the right choice for the third.
I completely agree with that. I think you are the best choice for the third. I think it's rather obvious because it's, you know, that old expression of the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. Well, to the third, you've had years and years and years. You said 1983 was the last time?
Yes.
Okay, 1983, guys, okay? I mean, my wife wasn't even born yet. She was born in 84. So since 1983, you guys have voted Democrat.
Right.
And you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you're not seeing those changes, those results. So I think right now, as you pointed out, is a perfect time to send somebody new to Olympia.
And somebody that will listen to all people, not just certain groups. So I am that person. I can cross the aisle. I can sit down at the table. We can have conversations and do what's best for all of us.
You're absolutely right. I mean, Natalie even likes a libertarian like me. So I'm not part of her party, guys. Okay. I like the Republican. I should say I really like the local Republican party here. All right. But she likes me as a libertarian, a little libertarian, by the way.
Most of the time.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
Most of the time. Yes. But yes, you can reach across the aisle. And you and I may even have some disagreements about some things, but I would 100% support you if I lived in the third.
Well, I appreciate that. And I definitely can cross the aisle even to the Democrat side. You know, I have always said that I pretty much grew up a Democrat. My dad claimed he was a Democrat. I think he'd be a Republican today. But it was that blue collar Democrat. It was that, you know, a lot of people call it the JFK Democrat. Mm-hmm. And it was really for the working class. I grew up in a working class blue collar family. Yeah. My dad worked hard, and sometimes when he couldn't find work, he would travel and he'd go other places to find work. So I understand it.
I imagine you do. Yeah, those blue dog Democrats, which have kind of disappeared, sadly to say. I think actually the Democrat Party, if you want to fix what's going on and some of the craziness in there, you need to bring back the blue dog Democrats, because those were people who genuinely loved America, but they wanted, as you said, for the working class. That's who they were for, the working class stiffs. And we've moved so far away from that to where a lot of the Democrats, even Democrats that I know, they don't support a lot of the craziness, but they feel like they can't cross that party line. That, I don't know, maybe their neighbors would look at them a little bit strangely if a Natalie Poulson sign appeared in their yard. Look, people, stop caring about what everybody else thinks about you. Just do the right thing. And in this case, it's voting for Natalie.
Absolutely. Give it a try. I mean, like you said, definition of insanity. You've been voting the other way for a long time, so let's give it a try. It's a 2-year term. If you really don't like me that much, you'll be able to vote again in 2 years, but let's give it a try.
That is absolutely true. And by the way, you don't have to put the sign out in your yard. I mean, I'm sure she would prefer that you do, but you can just vote for her. You don't have to tell anyone. You can just be like, no one's looking over my shoulder. Okay, there we go. I voted for a Republican. Oh my gosh. Hey, the sky's not falling.
It's a good plan, and especially in the primary. So let's get this done.
I would agree with you. All right, so let's go back to the website. Chris, if you can bring that up, friendsofnatalie.com. This is where I want every one of you to go and be a supporter. And not just a supporter, be a volunteer, because that's one of the things. As a former politician, I needed volunteers, and I know you need volunteers as well. There's so many ways that you can help and assist a campaign like this. Natalie, tell us about your need for volunteers.
So what's great about volunteering is I can find a place for you. We can have you make phone calls to let people know that I'm running. We can have you out walking the streets. You can come volunteer at an event, and you can also get a sign, put it up in your yard, or like Caleb was saying, if that's uncomfortable, then look around your main path of driving. And if you happen to see a good spot, you could stick a sign there. If you see my competitor's sign, great place for mine.
Yeah, right next to it. Not in front of it, ladies and gentlemen.
I would never say that.
Right in front of it. No, right next to it, right there, so that people know that there's options here.
Yes.
That it's not just a shoo-in for the Democrats in the third again, that there is a viable candidate who will support you, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or an independent. She's going to come in here. And she's also going to be, and I really want you to talk about this because you're very approachable.
I think so.
That's one of the things that I really do appreciate about you. There are politicians out there, both on the left and the right, that have an elitist attitude. And they're like, do you know who I am? Like, why are you even talking to me? That is not Natalie here. And in fact, even on your card, and I'll let you do this if you want to, but there's ways to communicate with you, ways to talk with you.
Absolutely. And I'm definitely that person that I believe I'm not going to ask you to do anything I'm not willing to do. And, I have to stay connected as a representative of the third. I have to be connected to the people. So I have my cards. We've got QR codes. We also have a website, friendsofnatalie.com. I have my email, friendsofnataliepoulson@gmail.com. And then you can always, I have my phone number, and it's my cell. You can get directly to me right here on my website, 509-230-8281.
Man, Chris, she's braver than me. I don't even give out my cell phone online. But that's the kind of person that Natalie is, that she's going to be that person that, hey, if you have a disagreement with her, if you want to plead your case on why she should vote, a specific way, there's her phone number. There's her ways to communicate with her, and she'll have a conversation. I know she will. I don't want to put the words in your mouth, but I know you will talk with somebody who fundamentally opposes you so that you can try to get some middle ground, some agreements.
Absolutely. I can even give you an example. I was down at Riverfront Park. I was there for the Heroes Walk. I'm a very proud supporter of my military, and probably a young adult. I would guess he was, late 20s, and we started to get into conversation. Another gentleman got a little heated, and so I stepped in, and we started to have a great debate. And we got to the end of that, and he said, you know what? You're the first person I've ever talked to that I will agree to disagree, but I actually heard you.
Wow. That's
was
pretty
great.
cool. That is wonderful to hear. All right. Well, once again, friendsofnatalie.com. I do have one last question. You're going to have to humor a constitutional nerd here. I think I might have asked you this once before, actually, but I love the Bill of Rights because I'm an anti-federalist, and I like the fact that I like the fact that the Bill of Rights is basically like, like what the Bible has with the Ten Commandments and thou shalt not, but it's all directed to government. I love that. What's your favorite of the original 10 here?
Oh, that's a tough one because they are so very good. So I have to at least say, the first three are pretty stellar. But I'd have to go back to probably personal experience, the right to peaceably protest. I did that. I lost my career over it. Yeah. Won my case. That's one thing that is never publicized after 2 years. But it is important to peaceably protest. And I always use the word peaceable because I think we forget that piece. And, we just saw that in a case recently where they tried to claim it, but yet they were damaging cars and vandalism.
Yeah.
That's not peaceful.
No, it's not.
So I definitely love that one. I will always love my Second Amendment and, free speech. And
Sure.
I mean, they're all good ones.
No, I like that. And I've heard a lot of people talk about the First Amendment or the Second Amendment, but specifically because there's 5 rights that are given in the First Amendment. God-given, I should say. But I've never heard anybody say peacefully protesting. And that is a really important thing that when the government becomes oppressive, the right to petition and peacefully protest for a redress of our grievances. That's an important issue. So great answer. I like it. So Natalie, we've reached the limit of the show here, but I thank you for coming on, being a guest on Church and State, and I wish you the best of luck and fortune and favor as you're running this very important campaign.
Thank you so much. Appreciate being here.
Yeah. Well, you have an open seat. Absolutely. All right. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Reasons to vote for Natalie Poulson, a mom on a mission to right the ills that are occurring in Olympia and Washington State and in Spokane specifically. Church and State is brought to you in part by Colonial Life Spokane Independent Agents, Finders Insurance, and Mark37.com. I'm Caleb Collier. I was born for a storm.
Welcome to the fire.
This is Caleb Collier with Church and State. Are you tired of your device spying on you? Ladies and gentlemen, we live in 1984. Your phones, your tablets, your smart televisions, they all are spying on you. And this is why I heavily endorse Mark37.com. This is everything you need for your digital privacy. Phones, tablets, laptops, all of them are ghost protocoled. So that means that you are in charge of your own data. Just go to churchandstate.media, scroll over to shop, and hit mark37.com for all of your privacy needs. Make sure to use that promo code Church and State. Hey, this is Caleb Collier with the Church and State podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I want all of you to go to Galileo.com. You need to stay connected no matter what comes our way. Whether it's government intrusion or a meteor falling from the sky, Galileo has you connected. As a Marine veteran, I can tell you that communications is essential. Galileo has you connected. Whether it's worldwide coverage, uncensored content, or real-time alerts, Galileo is going to make sure that you're connected with your friends, family, and neighbors. Just head on over to churchandstate.media, scroll over to shop, and hit Galileo.com. Make sure to ask them for a free bivvy stick, and make sure to use that promo code Church and State. This is Caleb Collier with churchandstate.media. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not sleeping on MyPillow, do you even patriot? I got to tell you, this is the most wonderful stuff from a man who's given it all for your freedoms. Whether it be the pillow, the sheets, or the slippers, I absolutely adore MyPillow. MyPillow has the greatest products around. I know when I want to shuffle around in my bathrobe and slippers and yell at the neighbors, of course I'm buying from MyPillow. I need you to head on over to churchandstate.media, scroll over to shop, because every single time that you purchase any of these products using the promo code Church and State, you ensure that we keep our message out on the air.
I thank everybody for your support in using promo code Church and State. You guys go to mypillow.com/Church and State too, and then you get your own little platform right there, everybody.